Join us for a visit to see places of interest and attractions right here in Kansas. This is Traveling Kansas.
Hello, my name is Jody Zeman, and I'm the Director of Trego County Economic Development, and we would like you to come and visit Trego County and Waukene, Kansas, and see what all we have to offer you.
My name is Wesley Hobbs. I'm the Trego County Commissioner here in Trego County. We're currently at the Trego County Courthouse. Trego County's borders were founded in 1869, and the county was named after its founder, Captain Edgar Poe Trego. And then about 10 years later, in 1879, Trego County was organized. Many pioneers and homesteaders found their way to Trego County after the Kansas Pacific Railroad made their way through. Many of the pioneers moving out here were farmers and ranchers, and to begin agriculture, and that's still evident today as agriculture is the #1 economy in our county. Not too far behind is we have manufacturing industry and the oil industry, and it's great for our economy. My family moved here when many of the pioneers did, and 5 generations later we're still here. We're still active in farming, still active in cattle, and think it's a great way of life, and hope to pass that down to my children.
Welcome, I'm Kathy Albert with the Waukene Travel and Tourism, and we're in Waukene today in the North Pole Park. We promote Waukene as well as the entire Trego County area, the entire region really, to get tourists to spend maybe just a little extra time here in our community. We have a lot to promote. I promote the Christmas City, the High Plains, the Smoky Valley Scenic Byway, the Smoky Hill Trail is in the southern part of the county. So most people, they don't think that there's that much to promote here in Waukene, but there really is. The main thing for tourists is they say Kansas is flat, Kansas is boring, blah, 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 blah. So we just get off of the interstate and visit. And once you get away from the interstate, there's lots of the geology, the landscape changes, everything changes, and there's lots to see and do in the area. I know a lot of people always ask me where the name Waukene came from. It's not an Indian name. It's not that, glamorous or whatever. It's just the 2 founders that came. They were Chicago land developers, came out and purchased land from the railroad back in the 1870s, and their names were Warren and Keeney, so they combined their 2 last names to get Waukene. They tell me that originally there was a dash in there, W-A-K-E-E-N-E-Y, but now it's just been shortened to Waukene, and everybody wants to know why the K is capitalized, and that's why, because it's the gentleman's 2 last names. The byway is approximately 60 miles long. You can either start it at Ogalla at exit 135 off of I-70 or at Waukene at exit 127. It's just a big U-shaped loop that goes down 283 on the west and then across on K4 to Brownell, and then back up across Cedar Bluff Dam and past the reservoir on Kansas 147. So it's one of the few byways that you can kind of spend as much or as little time as you want to on, because you leave I-70, when you get back, you're right back on I-70. So that's a little bit unusual and makes it nice for the tourists. They don't, they can, like I said, spend as little or as much time as they want to on the byway. If you go south on 283, there is a kiosk down on Highway 283 for the byway that gives you some information about the high points, the places that you need to stop. But then there's the Wilcox School, which is down right on the north side of the Smoky Hill River. We're in the process of restoring that. Our goal right now is to just get the outside completely weatherproof, and then we want to put murals in the windows so that people can stop there anytime and see what a one-room schoolhouse would have looked like back in the 1800s, because that was built like in 1886 and used until 1947 as a schoolhouse. It was used as many other things, also the community center, church services. And then if you go on further up, then you'll also come across the Emmanuel Lutheran Church. And it is a Swedish Lutheran church that was built in the early 1900s. All the stone for it was quarried down along by Threshing Machine Canyon and hauled up to the church. And it still is in existence. And every once in a while, if you're there on the right Sunday, you will get services in Swedish.
I am Jim Gray. I am Executive Director of the National Drovers Hall of Fame in Ellsworth, and I am on the Board of Directors for the Smoky Hill Trail Association. Smoky Hill Trail Association was started in 2007 to recognize the history of the Smoky Hill Trail. It's not as well-known trail as, say, the Santa Fe or the Oregon Trail, but it was a very interesting and exciting time period. We organized to help the trail be recognized as a national trail. The trail has different periods of history. It was most probably an ancient Indian trail to begin with, but following the Smoky Hill Valley, Smoky Hill River Valley, and there was a trail that went through here in 1859 following the valley on its way to Colorado during the gold rush to Colorado. That was more of a primitive, not as well developed trail that by 1865 David Butterfield developed the idea for Butterfield's Overland Dispatch, brought surveyors out and surveyed the route more fully, and established stations along the route for his stagecoaches, that sort of thing. So that route is probably the most common route of all of them, and it was David Butterfield who realized that if he could get this route surveyed properly, that he would cut off so many miles and make it just more readily accessible. And so the initial idea of his Butterfield's Overland Dispatch was a freighting company, then followed up with the stagecoaches, but the freighting company to bring supplies out to Denver, Colorado, and the surrounding area brought a lot of that business along this route. The primary historian for the Smoky Hill Trail, especially across Kansas, was a fellow by the name of Howard Rainsford. By 1965, he began to place the markers along the trail to mark where the trail actually went. So he came up with the idea of a single marker for each location taken from the limestone posts. And on those limestone posts, it has BOD, which stands for Butterfield's Overland Dispatch. A lot of people are more familiar with the trail as being the BOD, and has a lot to do with Howard Rainsford's efforts to mark it and put these limestone markers up. If you notice at the top of those markers, across the top, he actually filed a notch in the marker, and if you sight down that notch, that's the direction that the trail is actually running from that marker. This Bluffton area became this popular campsite. People carved their names all over those rocks, and a lot of freighting business is traveling through there, and one particular company was transporting a threshing machine to the west, and they made the mistake of camping too close to that bluff, which gave the Indians the opportunity to slip down over the bluff and attack them more readily than if they'd camped a little farther out away from the bluff. So they were overrun by a band of Indians, and the wagon and the threshing machine were all burnt. So it left all the pieces there, and over the years, that's how the place became known as Threshing Machine Canyon. and it's really not a canyon, but it's a low area with the bluffs on the one side. But that's how it came by the names, and people were attracted to the site just because of the old threshing machine out there. Over time, bits and pieces were picked up and moved around, but the name stayed. The Smoky Hill Trail Association is always looking for folks to participate or support us in any way that they're interested in this history. We have a really fine newsletter with a lot of good history called The Dispatch, and you can find out all about that through the website, which is smokyhilltrail.org.
Waukeeny has been known as the Christmas City of the High Plains since 1950. They actually started working on the project back in the late 40s. The project was the brainchild of Art Krause. He was a local businessman at the time, a hardware store owner, and he had seen a similar trees in Colorado, came home and wanted to build a bigger and better tree in Waukeeny. So then he teamed up with his friend and fellow businessman, Jake Heckman from the Trego Bank. Jake was the artist. So the two were, Art was the man that they said could build anything. That's what the stories say, that he could build anything. So actually the tree was designed and built in the basement of Krause Hardware Store, which is still along Main Street. Now it's used as the Western Kansas Saloon and Grill. But up above in the glass, you can still see etched the name Krause. It's K-E-R-A-U-S. In the glass above the doorway. There's lots of stories about Art and Jake, about how Jake was so particular, everything just had to be just perfect, that he would cut the decorations out, because he also, besides designing the tree itself, he designed like there's wreaths and bells and stars and everything that are on the light poles and go across the garlands that go across the Main Street. He designed all that. He would cut them out of cardboard, paint them, put colored lights in them, and sit down in the basement, they said, for hours, making sure he had just the right color that he wanted. Another interesting story about the Christmas tree is that they couldn't find the colored light bulbs at that time that they wanted to use in the right color. So they bought thousands of clear light bulbs and they dipped them themselves in the store. So like I said, there's lots of interesting stories about the tree. When in 1950 the first tree actually went up, and at that time it was basically just the tree, and then they added things to the display through the next 6 years or whatever. There's garlands across the streets that loop across the Main Street and down the two side streets. There's ornaments in there also that have lights in them. Those are all the original ones that we still use today. I guess I failed to mention, but the tree itself, it's hard to describe. It's an actual fresh tree made out of fresh evergreen, but it's not an actual tree. It's put together like an artificial tree. They plant the pole in the middle intersection downtown, and then it's put together basically like an artificial tree, but all that fresh greenery has been wired to the framework. And then all the garlands that wrap the light poles and go across the Main Street and the other two side streets is all fresh greenery that's trucked in. So I did a lot of research on the tree, and I found an article in the newspaper like in 1956, and they announced at that time that they had reached perfection, that they did not want to do any more to take away from the decorations. Anyway, 1956 was the last thing that was added were the blue lights, which designate the heavens that come out from the 4 stars on the top of the tree, and they go to all the corners of the intersection. So it's really hard to describe to people unless you've actually seen it. The event is always on the Saturday after Thanksgiving, is when the tree is lit and Santa comes down and he lights the tree, and then he will proceed to North Pole Park to his house here and visit with the children and pass out treats and stuff for the children. There's usually also live nativity in the courthouse square, a soup supper to benefit a local project. There's also a craft and home business bazaar up at the fairgrounds. This is a Christmas wonderland when you come here during the holiday times. It's from Saturday after Thanksgiving is when the tree is actually lit, and it remains lit until after New Year's every year. So you can stop and visit and see the lights anytime. You can get more information at our website, waukeeny.org, or check out our Facebook page or our blog. So come visit us. A new project that we have added is the 4-foot miniature trees, kind of a takeoff on some of the different cities that have, like Lindsborg does the Dollar horses. Different cities have done cows, whatever, but whatever your logo is for your city, we've adopted the Christmas tree, since Waukeeny is known as the Christmas city of the High Plains. And we originally started with 6 trees that we got a grant to purchase them and to get them decorated. We have several of them have already been placed. We just started working on it back in the end of May, 1st of June. And then we also have sold trees to private businesses and private individuals. So all in all, we hope to have at least 15 trees in the area of downtown.
I am Margene Dinas. I am the Associate Director of the Trego County Historical Society, and we are here today at our museum in our display area. We have an array of items, from our vintage clothing and textile items to our medical items, our household goods, our military items. Our clothing and textile areas feature everything from vintage wedding dresses that are from the 1880s all the way to the 1940s. We have christening dresses, we have graduation dresses, we have fur coats that are made out of cowhide, actually special cowhide. One of them was from a prize-winning bull that the owner made a coat out of after it passed away. So that is kind of unique. All our clothing and textile items represent from our early settlers that came in the 1870s when Trego County was basically settled, and those early settlers, and they were donated by many of our early families that came, our founding families that came to the county. Another area we have is our household items. We have a unique salt and pepper shaker, which is from the Whistler family. There's over 500 sets of salt and pepper shakers that were donated to the museum. And those are neat because you can see different kinds, from state salt and pepper shakers to humorous animals, and those are really neat to see. We have a lot of washing machines and washing memorabilia. Exciting news at the Trego County Historical Society Museum is the new addition. We, in May, just completed the outside shell of our new addition, which will be 120 by 60. The new display area will be 100 feet long, and then we'll have storage and a work area. We will get to expand our display area. We will get to offer more collections from our area residents. We will be able to offer special exhibits and possibly more tours to touring groups and students. The Trego County Historical Society Museum is open 6 days a week. We are open Tuesday through Sunday. Every afternoon we are open, and then Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday mornings. We are located at 128 North 13th in Waukeeny, right on the edge of the Trego County Fairgrounds, right off of Highway 283, so you can't miss us. We'd love to have you come and see our museum.
Besides the highway system, our county maintains 1,100 miles of country roads, which is the equivalent of Waukeeny to Las Vegas. So it's a huge job just to keep all of our roads within our county maintained. Our county has roughly 3,000 people. 900 square miles is what our county is based on, and about 11 square miles of water, which a lot of that is Cedar Bluff Reservoir. Yeah, Cedar Bluff's a great asset to our county. Provides jobs and business opportunities. as well as recreation.
Yeah, I'm Steve Seibel, Natural Resource Officer at Cedar Bluff State Park. We have our reservoir. Right now we have around 3,100 surface acres of water, about 40 foot deep. We have 135 utility sites for campers to use. That includes our group sites. Group site is what can be reserved by family reunions, just a group of people that want to get together, be in the same area. We have 5 long-term sites that they can rent for up to 6 months during the summer, not move their camper. Those sites do have sewer, water, electric. We've got cabins we can rent out. We have 6 cabins. 3 of them are primitive cabins. 3 of them are kind of modern cabins. They have the showers in them, bathrooms inside, stuff like that. We probably have, you know, some of the nicer campsites. They're spread out. People have a little more privacy. You know, we have very few area lights around the lake. The stargazing is excellent at night out here. That's one thing I enjoy about this lake the most is we're out here patrolling at night when you're just kind of sitting there listening and see the stars. We have some of the brightest skies that you'll see in the area. Oh, the fishing, it's good. It can be spotty at times. We get in some hot spells. There is some good wiper fishing going on right now with the wind blowing at these points. Walleye fishing in the spring can be just excellent. And then we get into the late summer and the deeper water. Our crappie, it's good. You can get into spots. It's not what it was. Their quality is there. It's just the quantity is not what it was a few years back, but that'll come back as our water kind of stabilizes. We have a lot of folks that come in from Colorado area, down from the Garden City area, actually up in from Nebraska. We get a lot of travelers that stop in off I-70. It's a just short trip off the highway for them to spend the night. Most of our stargazers and stuff, they come in from the Denver area. We do get several of those this summer, bring their telescopes to set up just to get out away from all the light pollution of the city. And so it's pretty interesting to visit with those folks. But we do draw from a very large area. We do have a trail over in the South Shore Park. It's called the Agave Trail, which kind of because of the amount of yucca plants we have over in that area. The trail we have, it's a little over a mile of asphalt trail and then another 4-mile extension of mowed grass trail that kind of winds you back up toward the bluff area. You don't get clear up on the bluffs, but you get really close to the bluffs, and it's good overlooks on it. You can bike it, you can hike it, it's whatever you want, just nothing motorized on our trail. There's a lot of wildlife viewing off our trail. There's some nice little areas you can sit at a bench that we've provided along the trail just to take in the view and enjoy the wildlife. Our visitation right now runs about 150,000 a year, majority of it during May to September. Once we get into September, it kind of changes over to hunters. I mean, our cabins are pretty much booked most of the hunting seasons for hunters that are bow hunting, then rifle hunters come in. It's excellent hunting out in this area. Our deer numbers are still looking pretty good. Bird numbers are, somewhat sketchy still with the drought and everything, but our visitation has remained steady actually for probably the last 4 or 5 years, even with our reservoir levels dropping some. We have Paul's Pond up there. It was actually kind of started out by, we built a small pond and didn't do much with it. And we had an old fisherman that enjoyed this lake so much that when he did pass away, they donated a large sum of money for us to go in and seal the pond up better, build our dock on it that we have out there to fish off of. We hold a fishing tournament for the kids on it every year. We've added our area light that we built and put out on it, and it's pretty unique. We invite everybody to come by and check us out. We're right off I-70. If you take the 135 exit, take 147, 12 miles south, you'll enter our park. You can stop by the office. Our office is open right now 7 days a week still. Come in, ask questions, we'll show you around, show you our cabins. We just have a lot to offer. We got BMX tracks for the kids. We've got playground equipment. You go online, check us out on Reserve America. You can actually see, pictures of our sites and decide where you want to stay out here, I guess.
I'm Hardy Howard. I'm the city administrator here in Waukeeny. We're here at the city building. City's had quite a few projects over the past 10 years to develop some infrastructure and some nice things for the community and visitors. One of the big projects we had was up here at our main park here in town. We completely redid the playground equipment, sidewalks and irrigation and landscaping up at our main swimming pool park. That was done in about 2006. It was done with city funds plus some money from the Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks, a grant through them. Turned out really nice, and went about right when that was finished. We had a bond or a vote, a public referendum for a vote to replace our swimming pool, which was 50-some years old and in pretty poor condition. And we used a countywide sales tax to fund that. And then we built a pretty nice pool there too, about a $1.8 million water park type style pool. And that was this was its 9th season this summer. But that really made a nice amenity for locals and visitors there, because a lot of our parks didn't have a lot of features or neat things in them. But now I think we have one of the nicest parks and pool out here in our area. The sand volleyball court that's there now is actually a project of our Recreation Commission. That's a brand new feature to that park there as well. There's a basketball court there in the park there too. So, but it sees a lot. And then, well, let's see. And then just a couple of years ago, we put a shelter, a nice good-sized shelter in the park right there. There was an old shelter in that park, and that was one of the first things we removed, and sort of one of the last things that ended up coming back. But and that's been utilized. Oh geez, almost every weekend during the summer, somebody's renting that for reunions or birthday parties or church events or something. So that's really been utilized too. So that's another nice little feature of the park. 8-9 years ago, we also did a downtown streetscape here, kind of on the south end of our Main Street area. That was another grant project through Kansas Department of Transportation, a transportation enhancement project. Did all the landscaping along the railroad, the Union Pacific Railroad corridor down there. The sidewalks, the street lights, the irrigation. There's also another little shelter that sits just off the railroad tracks down there. That was a nice little project that kind of added some pizzazz to the south end of Main Street. The community also has a real nice golf course just located south of town out here. It's a 9-hole grass green, watered greens, watered tee boxes. The fairways are native buffalo grass, but it's a nice little layout. It's for out here, you'd think it's normally pretty flat out here in western Kansas. Our golf course has quite a bit of undulation, quite a bit of hills. It's right down just north of Big Creek, and some pretty nice little layout in there. It has quite a few. We have probably 12 or 15 tournaments a year. It's a nice little amenity to the community that for us golfers, and we got to have our golf courses. So it also has a real nice practice facility to it, which is something kind of unique for small town golf courses. It has a real nice big driving range and a real nice big putting green to it. So our school utilizes it quite a bit for their golf teams, and we've had pretty successful golf teams here at Trego, and that's probably one of the reasons why, is it's got a real nice practice facility component to it. So.
Well, I'm Dr. George Griffith, Superintendent of Trego County USD 208. This is my 5th year in the district, and doing some research on the background of the district. Found out that it was officially organized as Trego County USD 208 in 1989, and includes the communities of Collier and Ogalla. Pretty much a full county school district, which is really nice. We have worked on making some improvements and upgrading our curriculum in our district. We have gone to a one-to-one initiative with technology. We've gone with Chromebooks for our 6th through 12th grade students, and we use iPads for our K through 5. And this provides our students the opportunity to have multiple technological devices that they can use, so they're not stuck with just one type of knowledge when they leave our school. We also provide opportunities for our students to have dual credit courses so they can work on a college degree while they're still in school. The goal is to provide them the opportunity to get a career certificate or even possibly an associate's degree while they're still in high school. In addition to our academic programs, we have a full and wide range of activities that our students participate in. We have the FBLA, which is our business club. We have a science club. We also have our FCLA club for our family and consumer science, and of course the FFA. We have a number of other activities that are more non-academic related, our full sports program, and it's excited to, we're a member of the MCL Mid-Continent League. We have football, cross country, track and field, tennis. We also have our, the basketball, of course, and our full range of volleyball, and a number of activities that give our students the skills that they need, not only to participate in a sport, but the team building that comes from that, and the social skills that they need to continue on. Social skills and the soft skills are one of the things that we also continue to work on emphasizing the importance of being in school, the proper attendance, showing up on time, proper attire that is needed, and working on maintaining and developing a good work ethic for our students as they leave our district. We have modernized our facilities as far as the heat and air conditioning to help improve on cost as far as our energy bills go. Has been very successful. We maintain a good capital improvement plan to keep our facilities up to date and moving into the future. Our total head count is 410 students, which is relatively good for a community of our size, and being in western Kansas, we have the community is really a good place, and our students, I couldn't ask for a better group of students to work with, and our staff does a great job with them as well. The most important thing that we can build in our students is somebody who's a good citizen, that's empathetic and caring, and I think that those skills are, something that's developed at home, but we also emphasize in our district, and I think that development of a team spirit, not just in our students, but also with our staff and community, is one of the things that I'm most proud of in this district.
Well, I'm Dan Lamott, and this is my wife, Brianna. We moved out here originally to be closer to family, and my wife, growing up out here, really likes the small town area, and I'm not personally from it, but I've really become accustomed to it, and I like it a lot. So it's been exciting, and it's just kind of a different pace of life out here that we really like.
We like that it's small, but it's not too small. I grew up in a town of about 200, so it's a little bit bigger. There's still things to do in town. We don't have to leave town to go do things or go out to eat, and that's really a big selling point for us. We don't have any fear of the town dwindling away, so that's nice. That's one of the reasons we decided to stay here in Waukeeny, was because we have two little ones, and we wanted them to be in a small school system, so that they wouldn't have all the problems in the larger schools. But also here, we've looked into it, and there are a number of opportunities and sports and clubs and things that they can still do. So it's not too small, but small enough that they get that same kind of feeling that I had growing up. The swimming pool in the park is amazing. It's really nice for really young kids because they have the zero depth, and so for little tiny kids it's really nice for them to go swimming. They can play in the water, and the park is wonderful. They have a larger area for bigger kids and a smaller area for the younger kids, which is just great. We can go there, and it's open. The kids can run, and we really like it a lot. We go there a lot.
We moved out here and we used the rural opportunity zone that Kansas is offering, and that was a pretty big factor for us moving out here because we do have a lot of student debt, and helping it repay has helped us a lot get ahead of our finances and really helped us feel more secure just kind of staying out here, just because we do have that extra money. So that's been excellent. I work as a computer programmer, and having fiber optics straight to the house wasn't something I really thought would be possible, but it is possible out here. And I know a lot of friends at work that work in other places that don't have that, so it's been pretty awesome that it's available out here.
Our former mayor, Kenny Deitcher, was instrumental in obtaining a surplus military aircraft from the Department of the Navy. It's an F-14A, come from back east. He applied for it and through some tax credit funding got it moved out here. It come disassembled. It was completely, the wings were off, the nose cone was off, they brought it out on a semi-trailer, and then it had to be reassembled here, and then it got put down there in Eisenhower Park. It's just right off I-70. It's very visible from the interstate. So a lot of people will pull off the interstate there and pull in there and walk up to it. And it's been kind of landscaped around. There's a big flagpole, an American flag there. It's kind of a display piece for right off the interstate for people. We're in the city building here. It was a WPA project back in the late 30s, along with the city of Waukeeny built this building. You don't see you'll see a lot of big courthouses out here, county courthouses, but you don't typically see city buildings like this. But it was this side over here where we're at right now was our library at one time. Our city offices have always been here, they're next door. And our city shop is in back, but we've done quite a bit of work to the building. This here was done, 17, 18 years ago, what you see here right now. And then just recently in the last 3 or 4 years, we've replaced all the windows in the building and redid a bunch of the stone on the building, had the exterior of the building cleaned. It's kind of a native limestone building and had it cleaned and sealed. And so it's a pretty unique piece of architecture for Waukeeny out here as far as the city building. So it gets people come and visit it just to see it and look at it.
My name is Kelsey Howard, and I'm the administrator and one of the nurses at Trego County Health Department in Waukeeny, Kansas. And I'm just going to kind of talk about our services today and also the different healthcare facilities that we have here in Waukeeny. Along with the health department, we also have our Trego County Lemke Memorial Hospital, which is a 25-bed critical access hospital. It's a 37-bed long-term care attached to that, as well as a 6-bed assisted living. We have the Waukeeny Family Care Clinic, and we also have the Trego Manor, which has 30 long-term care beds and 10 special unit Alzheimer unit beds as well. Here at the health department, we provide a multitude of services to the community. Our goal is to provide health and environmental and educational services in order to maintain and promote a healthy lifestyle for every individual in our community and county. Trego County we have 2 physicians on staff, 2 advanced registered nurse practitioners, and 1 PA currently on staff. And I mean, for a community the size of Trego County, that's a phenomenal amount of physicians and mid-levels to have. And I think that we're very lucky to have them. And I know that the hospital is, always recruiting new help, and they provide a lot of outreach services for the people in town. I know that they have like a cardiologist that comes in and surgeons that come in, and they do provide a great outreach of programs that people would otherwise have to travel to Hayes, Salina, or even further to visit with those specialties. So that is nice that we have the facilities and the capabilities of bringing those people in as well. I feel that Trego County is very privileged to have the facilities that we have. They're, excellent facilities, and I think that we're just very lucky to have the diversity of physicians and mid-levels that we have. We have a lot of different people from a lot of different backgrounds that we have brought into the community to work at our facilities, and the nursing staff is highly trained and very competent in all of our facilities. Trego County has been invested in the healthcare needs and invest in promoting the upkeep and upgrading of our facilities, which includes recently adding a walk-in clinic to the Waukeeny Family Care Center, which is attached to our Trego County Lemke Memorial Hospital. This provides quick, easy access to healthcare professionals and timeliness in taking care of your family's health needs.
Something I guess that's unique here in Waukeeny too as well, we're also the one of the 4 sites in Kansas for a state veteran cemetery. That was about 12 or 15 years ago. The state of Kansas was, Department of Veterans Affairs was soliciting locations out here in northwest Kansas for one of those state veteran cemetery sites. And it was a competitive process amongst several towns out in northwest Kansas for the location of that. The site had to be donated to them. The site was owned around that time by our local school district. The city purchased that from the school district, and once we were selected, we donated that to the state for the site of the veteran cemetery.
Hello, I'm Heidi Goff. I'm the cemetery manager of the Kansas Veteran Cemetery at Waukeeny and at Fort Dodge. We're presently at the Kansas Veteran Cemetery here at Waukeeny. This veteran cemetery honors all of our veterans and their spouses. We provide burial services for our veterans and their dependents. We have several different options for burial here. We have casket burial, and we have cremation burial. Our cremation burials, we have columbarium wall, or we have in-ground cremation, or we even have a scattering garden as choice for burial here. We encourage our veterans that if they are interested in having this as their final resting place, to do a pre-certification process, which is really quite simple. It's a short form to fill out. We actually were dedicated in 2004 here at Waukeeny, and the phase 1 that we're in right now consists of 12 acres, and that is already established burial plots. We have another 12 acres that will be phase 2, that someday when this fills up, that they'll be able to expand the cemetery. As our columbarium wall states, no one is buried alone, all are buried with honor. This is a place that we take great care to make sure that is always fitting to our heroes who are willing to sacrifice all for us, that we always have a place that we can honor them. We do that throughout the year with special services such as Memorial Day. Here at Waukeeny, we have a very large program, and we have usually about 500 people in attendance at that Memorial Day service. We also have Wreaths Across America, where we receive donations from many wonderful supporters who then we place wreaths on each of the graves, and that is always done the second Saturday of December. I would like to mention that there are 4 state-operated veteran cemeteries in Kansas. We have Fort Dodge, Waukeeny, Winfield, and Fort Riley. We have people that just are passing through who come in and will come in and ask questions about the cemetery, or you'll just see people walking through the cemetery quietly looking upon all the headstones. Our headstones are the focal point of the cemetery. When you look at them, that represents a veteran who was willing to sacrifice all if need be for our freedoms.
I'm Ray Rumpel. I'm the Vice President here on the Trego County Fair Board. And this building back of us, that's 105 years old, along with the fair. We restored this building in 2004 and everything, and that's our oldest building on the grounds. Well, I myself, I've been associated with it since I was old enough to be in 4-H, and that was when I was 8 years old. I used to show market animals and breeding heifers. My main deal is livestock. Well, I enjoy seeing the kids being happy when they get their ribbons and everything, and I enjoy being associated with the kids, helping them in the 4-H and stuff.
I am Bronk Barrows. I work for Kansas State University Extension as a 4-H agent strictly for Trego County, but also as a director for Kansas State University's Golden Prairie Extension District. In 2009, I came back to Waukeeny, Kansas, as I grew up in this area, and I would say an area within a 60-mile radius of here. It's awesome to be back and be with the families within 4-H. and the FFA program. And that's something that's unique about Trego County's youth programs is we both work towards the FFA and to the 4-H. You know, and I'm a grandfather. I'm over 50, and my kids were involved in 4-H, and I have grandkids. It's a family project, and we're going back to the basic values of 4-H and education and youth education. Our whole community comes out to support these kids, and I think that's the key to Trego County, is that local base, that local support. And you know, when I was a youth in the late 70s, Trego County Fair was one of the biggies. And we're hopefully bringing that back, that atmosphere, that carnival, the nighttime talents, and just the whole youth program is coming back to Trego County. It's a tradition, and it's something that we're very proud of here in Waukeeny, Kansas.
We welcome everybody to come and participate in the fair because we can't do it ourselves. We need support from the people.
You know, a lot of places out here in western Kansas have struggled with water resources recently, especially the last 5-6 years with the drought. Waukeeny's water supply has been fairly stable, though. We've never had to ration water here, and our supply is down here on Big Creek, but we've always had good water. We have also very good quality water as well here, so we're a little bit lucky in a sense that even being outside the Ogallala Aquifer here, our water supply has been good right here. So that's a nice, another little amenity to the communities. Waukeeny there's quite a bit to do here. I mean, there's, you know, the Cedar Bluff Lake is here in the county. There's, you know, the hunting and fishing. I talked about the golf course, you know, here. A lot of outdoor recreational opportunities for you here in Waukeeny. But we're also nice, we're right here on I-70. So, I mean, if you got to go somewhere, you got to get somewhere, you want to go somewhere bigger, you know, shopping or what have you. I mean, we're right here so you can get, you know, anywhere quickly. Housing is affordable here. Taxes aren't too awful bad here. Good quality school system. Nice hospital and clinic here. So it's got, you know, and then our shopping amenities. We've got some basic shopping amenities here, you know, that you know, can get about anything you really need right here in town. So it's just a nice, good-sized community for out here in western Kansas.
For more information about Trego County, please visit our website at TregoCountyKansas.com, and that's Trego County spelled out, KS.com. If you'd like to call me personally and speak about options for businesses here in Trego County, call me at 785-743-5785. Thank you.